You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love.
My role here is just as a volunteer, right? And Ryan is a volunteer. And this is an organization based principally on paying it forward, giving back, giving to something bigger than yourself. And I think that's such a great whole message to pass along.
We give away skateboards in a million different ways, partnering with organizations. Ed, you're out there driving around in a car full of skateboards, doing it sort of guerrilla style. We love to do that too. Some of the best experiences we have giving away skateboards are pulling them out of the trunk of your car when you're at the park and there's four kids, in sandals sharing one skateboard, and go back to my car, pull out some van shoes that have been donated, give out some skateboards. And so it doesn't always have to be these big elaborate, things to make a difference.
It's funny you say that, and you both guys make excellent points. But when you talk about being there when the skate park opens, where this all started was at the Bro Bowl. And it was the same sort of thing. We had a bunch of folks there that lived adjacent to the Bro Bowl, and they would come over and they would want to borrow our boards. And that's when Professor Schmidt says, why don't we get them their own board? And so it's been kind of the model all along. And it's funny you say you give away, you need two. You can't just give away one, because you need them to have somebody to skate with. And then it's the the socializing and the challenging each other and showing, hey, look what I can do. Comedians and coffee or whatever.
Oh, I know. Coffee. Comedians in cars.
Comedians
having coffee or something like that.
Coffee. Yeah. There's an episode, I think, with Chris Rock.
Yes, yeah.
And Jerry Seinfeld said, those kids in skateboard parks, I don't worry about those kids, because they want it so bad. They know how hard they have to work. And if you think about it, next time you're looking out your window and you see kids skating at a skate park in Florida in the summer and no shade, and they're still skating.
Yeah.
They're going for it.
Yeah, I think, and I'm certainly guilty of this when people ask me, Boards for Bros, what do you guys do? I often give this answer that, we give out free skateboards, which is really a pretty diminished, minimalized view of what we really do. What we're really giving away, and nobody understands this better than Woody, and no one talks to kids in a way that gets this across better than he does. But, we're giving this invitation to this really cool community. And, all three of us in here and everyone who's involved with Boards for Bros, and that's hundreds of people, volunteers and people here at the Skatepark of Tampa, we're all just nuts about skateboarding. We love it. A million things have come and gone in my life, and skateboarding is still here, and I still love it. And we want to give other people a chance to fall in love with it too. And they all won't, but some do. But there's, you're also giving them this opportunity to meet these really rad people. It's such a great, inclusive community that's diverse and maybe doesn't look like your classroom looks at school. My son grew up skating with Latino kids, African-American kids, at a skate park in a Bosnian neighborhood.
A Bosnian?
Yeah, it was in St. Louis, which has a very large Bosnian immigrant population. Wow. And these weren't the kids that he sat next to in the classroom or played with on the T-ball team. And they're kids from every different economic background you can imagine. And then, the other thing about skateboarding is sometimes it's just the beginning. So, when we do an event, we'll often have an art table where they can decorate their grip tape with paint pens and do sort of the creative side. And there's always a handful of kids that they'll spend the entire 2 hours just there doing that. And so that's what speaks to them. And so there's that close connection between skateboarding and creative people, whether it's, musicians, visual artists. So sometimes just being at the skate park, you get to be around the weirdos, and that's always what appealed to me. And then you start a band, you start a zine, you kind of come up with some cool fashion stuff and
paint on your jeans.
There's just so many layers to it. And maybe skateboarding is, for some, it's just the beginning. and just to expose you to other things. And like you say, skateboarding is really damn hard. It's hard, but that's the appeal of it, I think. That's not the negative. And I think it would get boring really quick if it was easy. And you do it for 10 years and it still knocks you on your ass every time. And but there's value in that for sure.
Without overstating the impact, it's high, wide, and deep. It's exhilarating to hand a skateboard to a kid and say, "This is yours forever. Take care of it. Don't leave it in the rain." And watch a child who's never been on a skateboard before within an hour feel comfortable to get involved out on the flat ground and push around themselves. Figure out if they're goofy or regular foot. These are all experiential learning. And then the parents may be standing on the sideline. Maybe they have no interest, which is totally cool as well. But from a parent's perspective, watching a kid unfold into the flower that they can be is a reward. For the kid, there's the thrill ride, and I think having that little bit of breakthrough on the nervousness of being on a skateboard is more affirming to the child than it is if they were second string on a soccer squad or sitting on the bench at a baseball field. And that's that socioeconomic threshold that Boards for Bros is able to obliterate and just take that away. One of the best giveaways we had, and Ed, you were a part of this. We literally went to a public housing project, swept off the basketball court at 8 o'clock in the morning, had a van full of skateboards. 2 girls come up and go, "What are you guys doing?" Said, "We're going to give away skateboards today. Why don't you put on some shoes and come hang out with us?" And within an hour, maybe 2 hours, we had 75 kids skating around. And those kids probably knew each other from the neighborhood as in a, "Hey, how's it going?" They definitely were age group so varied they wouldn't have gone to the same school together. And within 2 hours, you had built this community out of an empty basketball court. And that is, from an adult perspective, so rare to see, is the multi-generational, multi-societal, multi-ethnic, multi-language experience that for an adult, that's even more affirming. That gives you this idea that skateboarding connects people, contrary to the misperceptions of people that want to think that it isn't a beneficial social movement. Skateboarding, it can be a sport, but skateboarding is a culture. Skateboarding is a movement, and you'll find few anywhere that have the inclusivity that skateboarding creates. It's high, wide, and deep, and that's truly the beauty of what we do.
Well, I think skateboarding does suffer a little bit from the fact that inclusiveness isn't always obvious. When you're on the outside looking in, skateboarding can look like a real inside club. And I've certainly seen, at public skate parks, you see the kid come up with his grandmother, parents, and they have a skateboard, and they stand there for a long time, and then they leave. They never even come out onto the concrete. And I think that's particularly true in places like California, Florida, where there's a lot of really good skateboarders. And it's easy to say, "Well, I suck at this," because everybody sucks at it when they're first started. Everyone starts in the same place. No one's born good at skateboarding. And so anything we can do to lower that wall a little bit, and we know, because we're inside this world, we know it's really welcoming, not perfect, but pretty darn welcoming and inclusive and diverse, that if we can just get people comfortable enough to come in and sort of show that, the experience is almost always positive.
Well, we're all fans of your show, Ed, by the way.
Thank you.
Skateboarding Bros Show. You should make it a regular. Here's the opportunity, and DEI is now a buzzword in the political world, but diversity, equity, and inclusion is really a part of society, and corporate world has recognized that. And so I live in 2 worlds. I volunteer for this great organization, but I live inside of a business world where you want to find social investment. And I would encourage anybody, that even big or small companies, to look at partnering, financially partnering. If you want to come build skateboards, we need your help. But if you want to be a part of it, but your commitment would be financial, it is a great use of your company's resources, your company's investment, to be able to say, we've done something in our city, whether it's Huntsville, Texas, and that is a great example of how a municipality got involved. More so, I got a phone call from a city commissioner one day. Hey, I saw you on video. I saw you on YouTube, and you give away skateboards. We're going to open a skate park in Huntsville, Texas, in August. You think Florida's hot in the summer? Go to East Texas, and we want to know how we can have Boards for Bros help us open a skate park. So we were able to put together a program with them. We literally drove a team out with 100+ boards. We arrived on a Friday night, very late, dodging what became a hurricane.
How long is that drive?
It was 16 hours.
16 hours.
And they did an overnight in New Orleans, and they grabbed some street footage in New Orleans. But they were true world warriors, hammered it out. I got there Friday afternoon with Michael to do kind of the preset, and I went to a grocery store, and obviously adult beverages need to be purchased. They don't let you carry those on airplanes anymore by the case. And so when we were there, I'm just wearing what I wear, and I'm standing in line at the checkout, and the kid at the register goes, "What brings you to Huntsville?" Like, they didn't think I belonged there. And I go, "Oh, we're in town to open a skate park tomorrow." And he goes, "I read about that in the newspaper. They put an article in the Huntsville newspaper saying there's going to be a public skate park opening tomorrow. All's invited." So we brought 100 boards with 250 kids.
Yeah, well, I remember the event started, I think, at 10 a.m. We showed up at 9, and the kids were already wrapped around the skate park and out lined up. And it's easy to forget, too, that, you know, the barrier of spending $100 or $120 on a skateboard to start skateboarding is a huge mountain to climb for a lot of people. And I can remember, you know, me being a kid, and, you know, I had a toy store skateboard like most people start out with. And at our local sporting goods store, Wheaton Sport, downstairs, they had the kind of where they put the weirder sports. And it was like a mom and pop sporting goods store. And they had like a glass cube on a pillar with a GNS Fiberflex in there. And it might as well have been the Hope Diamond. It was completely something that I must have looked at 100 times, and was something you know, million years. I don't remember what it cost, but whatever it wasn't, you know. And I did, you know, I came from a suburban family that, you know, did not have money problems, but the idea of having a real skateboard was a significant barrier. And for us, a lot of kids to sort of jump into that without having to go through the, you know, the phases of, you know, the hand-me-down, beat-up skateboard or the toy store skateboard, and give them something they can learn on, and you know, and it makes them a skateboarder. You know, it's sort of that identity comes with the board. And, you know, skateboarding is in a great place right now in sort of the social landscape. And skateboarding is really cool right now. No doubt about it. Everybody, you know, skateboarding has this broad impact in music and fashion. And skateboarders are just cool. So, you know,
I wish I was a skateboarder.
Me too.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Fiberflex. So I got an upgrade from my Nash 10 toes, for people that remember the old wood plank with steel wheels.
Yeah.
And I got a Hobe fiberglass skateboard I think we got out of the Penny's catalog, maybe Sears and Roebuck.
Yeah.
And I think that was 1974. And that first couple runs, it was the shit until we realized that the fiberglass shreds. So I had to duct tape the rails, sides of the board to preserve by hand. But that's, for me, my history was stores were closed on Sundays. We just go out and bomb the parking lot. We didn't think about anything other than, you know, bailing out the board. And so I was not a contest skater. I've got no affiliation to the pro side of skating. So it's all cultural for me. It's all about the experience. And no greater thrill than when my kid wanted to start skating when he was 8. and now he's a junior in university at 20. It unfolded as an adult, this experience. So that first skateboard experience is a great YouTube. There's some YouTubes on pro riders first skateboard.
Yeah.
But I guarantee you, every kid remembers their first skateboard. They remember that experience, and it's even more rewarding to know that you're a part of that experience.
My first real skateboard, it actually came to me lying. I was in California. We were traveling out there, and I told my parents that I had saved up all this money from a paper route which never existed. And if they could, but I'd forgotten my money back in Chicago. And if they could buy me a skateboard, I'll pay them back when we got home. So I went to, I think I was in Huntington Beach, a surf shop is where I got it. But I got a Ray Bones Rodriguez. And, it was life changing. I was sweating it because I had to go back to Chicago and then say I didn't actually have the money. But it really, it's corny, but it was life changing. Here I am still doing, still at least talking about this stuff.
So you guys both brought up a couple things that I'm going to try to see if I can bring them together. We're talking about how it's an even keel and it's cuts across all social, all aspects and all races and all economic situations that you may be in. And you have this skateboard and you go, I have this vehicle. And I'll liken it to having a boat that you put in the salt water. You can you could technically you could go to China where you get your first bicycle. You can now ride around the neighborhood and you can go a long way. So the skateboard can take you all the way into the TV and you can make millions of dollars if you're really good at it. You know that the skateboard that we hand you, and this is why I love to bring kids who can rip to distributions. So you hand the skateboard to a local ripper. He does a pop shove and kickflip, some trick. I have no idea what they're all called now. And then he hands that board to the kid. He goes, well, I know the board's capable. He knows, without saying it, the board is capable of doing this.
Yeah.
That guy's still here. I just saw it. So now I have a vehicle. And it's like there's another analogy, it's playing golf. The golf course is there in front of you. Everybody gets to take a turn. It's you against the golf course. And if you play well, you'll shoot a good score. And people on a golf course, like people in skateboarding, they cheer for each other.
Yeah.
We want to see people get better. There's nothing like seeing a bunch of guys smacking their boards against the lip when somebody pulls off a trick, no matter how basic, that this guy has not been able to girl.
Yeah.
Either way, it doesn't matter. If they are pushing their limits and they're succeeding, there's no happier person in the park that day than them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you see a skate with somebody who's really good and they're having a bad day and they're throwing their board around. It's like, dude, you're missing the point. We start this to have fun and to learn and exercise. And back when I started skating, since we mentioned that, it was clay wheels and loose ball bearings, one bushing in the truck. There was no future in skateboarding. It was.
Yeah, it would have been absurd.
Yes.
I think that,
that's what my parents said when I quit playing baseball.
Yeah.
It was absurd, but we did it anyway because it was fun. And, once a year we got to see our buddies and we got to see each other improve. And I think that's socialism. That's not right. Socializing.
Yeah.
And education, 6 years down the drain, right there. Is one of the best parts of it. Like coming here to see you guys, because we talk on the phone all the time, text, whatever we do, instant message or email. It's sometimes hard to find out, but we're all in for the Boards for Bros since 2006 now, Thanksgiving in 2006. It's been 17 years. We don't really know how many we've given away, but it's tens of thousands.
Certainly, yeah.
And we've given away in Africa and South America.
Yeah. We were in Peru earlier this year.
Right.
Jamaica.
We've sent small amounts of boards to Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras,
got
Cuba.
Yeah.
South Africa, and I'm sure we're missing a lot of others. And then right here in our, we do most of our work right here in our own backyard. And one thing I want to stress, at least from here as the executive director and sort of at the the headquarters, it would be really hard to do even close to what we do without the Skatepark of Tampa. So
Indeed.
we, somebody's paying for this internet right now. It's not me. That's important that when somebody donates money to us, it's not paying for a van. The Skatepark of Tampa provides me with a van that I can use anytime I need it. I'm sitting in an office that they pay for. We have a warehouse that they pay for. I have a shipping department here that can ship things out for me. And so the point is, when somebody makes a donation, we're able to turn it into skateboards. We don't turn it into internet bills and insurance. And that low overhead gives us the opportunity to, sort of increase our impact. And the other thing we do here, and when we do events here in the Tampa area, is we always give basically a lifetime free admission to the Skatepark of Tampa for those kids. The idea is to get over it being just, this is a day when we're handing out skateboards, and make it into, hey, this is this invitation to become part of this thing. And we have this great place here that already has this community that's hardwired into it.
To be a member.
Yeah, and come on out, learn how cool it really is, learn how welcoming it really is. And so I can't thank the Skatepark of Tampa, Brian Schaefer, enough for allowing us to do this. Our impact would be a tiny fraction of what it is without all these resources. And not just the formal resources, Skatepark of Tampa. We have all these great people. Here's one of them right here.
Oh man, thanks.
Yeah, you want to be on a podcast?
Scott Thrasher.
Yeah.
Say hello to everybody.
Yeah.
What up, y'all?
But the point I'm talking, Scott, about all the great things Skatepark of Tampa does. If I need a ramp built, a jump ramp, I can go down there and I got a guy who can do it.
Might take 2 days or 3 days.
Yeah, well, whatever. But a lot of amazing resources.
Well, I left. I was here for a couple of years, then I went to North Carolina. Thanks.
Hey,
Thanks,
Scott.
And I went into California. I went to Charlotte, went to North Carolina, and I just kept doing my skateboard. A couple of years later, I'm in Tampa Bay at some skate event, and this guy goes walking by me with a Boards for Bros shirt on. I'm like, "Who are you?" And it was Woody. So I'm like, and he's the perfect person for me to give like a vibe right off the bat, because he's just so cool. And he says, "Oh yeah, we're doing it, and it's 501c3 and everything." And I'm like, wow. So it has got a life of its own. And trying to get an attorney to push a skateboard charity into a 501c3 thing it's not free. So there's so much more that goes on here in the background than just giving away skateboards.
Well, here lies the opportunity to jump in. Thanks for the long-term memory, because I don't actually recall that.
Okay.
I'm from the 1970s. That's my excuse. For places that want to have an event, they want to create this stimuli that is a distribution. It's scalable. You can partner with local, if you have a skate shop. Michael commented earlier about building skate parks in the cheapest public land available. It's true, and those neighborhoods typically are food deserts. They're lower on the socioeconomic. There's never a skate shop there. So if your community doesn't have a skate shop, find an online retailer, support them, because skate shops become the lifeblood of a community. And we sit at Skatepark of Tampa, and it's our regular, not recognizing its global impact. And I think Boards for Bros is an extension of the vision that people like Brian Schaefer and Paul Zitzer and Paul Schmidt had to create, and Ed Womble had to create this what is a lasting and ongoing. So the other side of excitement is when you get younger people, not kids now. We're talking about the 20-year-olds that have kind of found their way and recognize that they see their role shifting from being that Grom skater to now being somebody that is actually looking back at a decade or 15 years of skating, and that they can participate as a mentor, as kind of a way of being the adult in the room. And that's a new experience for them. So importantly, I see the role of the distributions as a way of strengthening every stage of skating. So I don't forget it. I'm going to tell you, one of my favorite quotes about skateboarding, period, is attributed to Alva. And he said, the best skater at the skate park is the kid with the biggest smile. And that to me says as much as most folks need to know about how thrilling skateboarding can be. Scalability, Boards for Bros can do that. And through whether it's one of the chapters or whether it's here through the HQ, it is no greater feat for a community to pull together some skaters, give away some boards, be a part of an event, be a part of a happening, get a couple punk bands, let them set up on a piece of plywood, play to their heart's content, make it an event, and then you'll see what skating can do for a community, and it's all on the upside. So again, business leaders, elected leaders, recognize that skateboarding is not just a fad, it's here to stay. And Boards for Bros is creating an avenue to build skaters and hopefully skate parks across the United States.
That's awesome. Well said. So I know there may be upcoming events, but you guys are watching this 2 months from now. So we want to skip ahead. If we could say, when is the Bro, when is the AM, and make sure we have that. Do we have a date on those?
We do.
Yeah, April 14th through 17th is the Pro, and it's a little bit later this year than typically. The Pro obviously being one of the longest, if not the longest running professional
continuous
contests in the world. And then the AM will come up in the fall of 24, typically in October-ish. I think that's unless they realign those dates. So it's typically the fall and then the spring. On the shoulders when the weather in Tampa is still pretty nice.
So,
and I want to really encourage people out there, if you've never been to a Tampa Pro and you're even a little bit of a skateboard fan, it really is a one-of-a-kind experience. The greatest skateboarding in the world is going on here, but that's only a small part of the story. This contest has been going on for so long and has played such an important role in skateboarding. You know, the skateboard world is based in California, but at least for a couple weeks a year, this is the center of the skateboard world here in Tampa. And you have all these old pros that come through, and you know, one thing for a lot of kids, these are their heroes. In the accessibility you have, we've been to my son and I went to we've been to a couple street league contests, you know, which are big, very commercially like polished events. The skateboarding's great, but it's so different, and it's, you know, nothing negative about that. It's just a different experience to see the kids, you know, try to talk to the pros through 2 chain link fences. You're isolated all the time. And trying to hand a board over the fence and maybe some little sign. Where here you're in line to get a chicken sandwich with Nigel Houston, you know, next to you. And I think the pros sort of love that accessibility. It's a skaters contest, and it's not a great place to watch a skateboard contest. We don't have a lot of space, but it's sure an amazing opportunity to hang out with skateboarders. And you know, you can't go to Wimbledon and hang out with the Williams sisters, but you can come here and hang out with, you know, Yuta Horgomi. It's really is, and Woody's buddies with everybody, you know. And we have these great conversations, and they're not always about skateboarding, but with the absolute best in the world at what they do. And I don't know a lot of context where you have that accessibility and that it's a really special experience.
So
it's intimate. It's intimate.
Just to jump in real quick, my goal is to ask in as many languages as I can learn, why skateboarding? And I want to learn it in Japanese. I want to learn it in Russian. I want to learn it in every language that I can figure out how to ask that question and listen to the responses. The object, the skateboard, is the same, but the passion that each pro skater brings And I think there is again further proof. Skateboarding is global. Skateboarding is more than just the object. And yeah, I'll echo what Michael just said about an event at Skatepark of Tampa is in some cases is the I met a couple at the last contest that were here on their honeymoon. So they spent their honeymoon money to come watch the Tampa Am. And if that's not love, and it was the bride that was the driver of the opportunity. So, but again, it doesn't have to happen at Skatepark of Tampa. Go support your local contest and go watch the interaction.
Well, how many qualifiers are there for the Tampa Am?
Tampa Am, so
This is real interesting.
I'm gonna be probably wrong about everything, but I'll give you roughly. So about 100 kids skate on Friday. They're kids that didn't qualify automatically to get in. So these are kids that they're sponsored, usually flow skaters, getting product from companies. They're well known in their area, but they're not team riders for the big companies. A TM didn't call and get them into the contest. So this, and I will say, as amazing as Tampa Pro is, the skating at Tampa Am is unbelievable. And that's coming from someone. I see a lot of skateboarding. I see a lot of good skateboarders. And even in the years you've been coming, the level of skateboarding in the Am competition is mind-blowing, I assume,
I hope the audience knows who Jinwoo Onodera is. He just goes by Jinwoo, kind of like Nigel gets to go by Nigel. And saw him first year when I think was 11, and I think he finished 7th place. And he's a diminutive person. He's a boy physically, but even as a human being, he's just a small guy. And now he's the age of 14 and is just an assassin when it comes to tricks. That's
a good thing.
His ability,
yeah.
His abilities are, yeah, thanks, yeah. Remember, fat means thin, bad is good, and we're trying to keep the vocabulary, at least in the 1990s. The level of skating has advanced in a way that you're watching the future. And there's, here we all are gray-bearded people, and we revel in the past. It's a hoot. That's the best part of your show, is to connect to the things that happened backward. But when you come to the Am or you go to a local contest and watch these kids and recognize there's talent involved, but there is a lot of discipline. There's a lot of trial and error. Gravity is a fact. These kids have fallen down enough that they've taught themselves how not to. It is thrilling. And it doesn't have to happen at Tampa Am. It's great to come say hello when you come. But any local contest, just go hang out at your skate park and watch the kids putting together a line. Watch the kids that are 10 times failed to get that one time make. And you'll understand how skateboarding connects in a deeper way than it's just something to do. I don't know many adults that sit around and think about, maybe chip shots are a different thing in your world, Ed, but you don't sit around all day and calculate. I walk past stairwells all the time, and I used to take a photograph of them and send them to Uncle Sam Bellapani and ask him if it's never been done. Ask him would he attempt it, and that to me is a way of connecting your physical environment. It was Craig Stesick said it took 200 years of industrial development to create concrete structures that children found use in. And he was talking about sidewalks in California.
Stesick, the artist.
Well, that's what the imagination of children is what you also recognize at the Tampa Am series. So the Dam Ams are qualifiers. Some of the other outside contests are qualifiers, and obviously kids can come and present themselves as just flow riders for their local skate shop. And those 150 kids on Thursday turn into 100 on Friday, turn into 10 by Sunday afternoon.
So there's qualifying events in other cities
Yes.
prior to the amateur.
Yeah, so there's Damam in the Netherlands, Japan, New York, and Los Angeles.
So all over the world.
Yeah.
It's a global quest for skaters that are remote, other countries that are trying to get into the skate scene, and this is their easiest way to sail their boat to recognition is to get into the regional qualifier, and then you see these. I mean, they're children.
Yeah, many are.
Their parents, and they're here, and for them, it's it's the pyramids, it's the Great Wall of China, this is the spot.
Yeah.
Literally, this is spot. And to have the Boards for Bros be associated with this, there's no other place it should come from.
Yeah.
Well, stoke is an often used word. It's a noun, it's a verb. And yet when people who come as participants also recognize that we're interacting at a different level, they'll get it. And the fact that you can walk up to an Andy Anderson who is globally recognized as an innovator and he's so popular with young people, but when you look at his bag of tricks, he's Rodney Mullen reincarnated. He's the mud, just a taller Canadian version, right? Yes. And ask him a question that may be slightly open-ended. The wisdom that comes out of this dude. And then you get to meet Brian Anderson, no relation. And Brian looks back at a career that has been storied, and he is an innovator in the art of skateboarding. He's a cultural icon. He's just happy to hang out and eat a tangerine with me. And this is what happens at contests. But when, as Michael said, when people can come and interact with them, not just for a signature, but listen to them talk. Steve Cavallero, again, asked him the question, why skateboard? And he said, it gave me the opportunity to fail.
He's been skating for Powell for 40 years.
I know. You're talking about a guy that is, but his proof of the reason he's doing these things is that it doesn't always work. And this is much more than you're going to come and be a great skater. How many fails has he and Hawk, had in their career, right? How many times have they bailed out or broken stuff? And yet they are connected to a sport, to an art, to a culture. And the window on the world that you get here at Skatepark of Tampa is completely different than a lot of venues. But you'll see that same interaction at the skate park behind the school. And you just, if you participate, you recognize, and then you can always shout out, which is my favorite part, the shout out because they're the future at the amp, certainly. And everybody's younger than me, except for you.
Yeah.
And
Sorry
Phil.
about that. So I want to make a habit of doing this and sending a shout out to my locals. George McClellan, he's my buddy, but my locals were a Sensation Basin. So there was Rodney Mullen, Bruce Mason, Chris Bockham, Ronnie Brown, Mike Tebow, Peter Andrews. Those people will always be the guys that I want to see and show what I've done. And I think that is part of what you always remember. Along with your first skateboard, mine was just this little oval piece of brown with clay wheels. And then when the bearings fell out, the day was over. And now we have the ability to hand them a completely sound tool from which to travel anywhere they want to go. And they can see it on TV. They know it's a possibility. They don't have to have another team, coaches, line on the field, a referee. They just need what we provided the other day, which was a couple of years ago. Actually, we broomed off the whole basketball court, and then they have a safe place to skate. So if you see somebody skating, say, keep it up, and try to be positive about what you see. Thanks for watching this video, the Skateboarding Bros Show. And I would like you to comment about why skateboarding as well as comment where you're from. What country are you watching us from? I know we've got Mark Hoffman watching from the Netherlands. Hey, Mark, Tim says hi. And we want to hear from you too. So, Michael, Woody, do you have any final words you'd like to add?
No, I think we covered it all. I think, the sort of, if you had to sum it all up, the real beauty of this is skateboarding. You can make it whatever you want it to be. I think that's sort of the value in it. You don't have to be Nigel Houston. You can use it as a tool just to make friends. And that's why I think we always have this trouble sort of defining what even is this thing? Is it a sport? Is it, it's the oldest argument. Is it a subculture? Is it an art form? And it's whatever. And it's boards for bros. And just in skateboarding in general, I think it's important to stress boards for bros. Even you guys that were doing this forever ago at the Bro Bowl didn't invent the idea of giving away skateboards. That's sort of been baked into this culture as long as there's been skateboards. And so we just do it in a little more formal way, but it's such an exciting time right now. Skateboarding is so global. It's so diverse. We have days here at the Skatepark of Tampa where there's more girls skating than boys. And that would have seemed crazy 20 years ago. And I love this thing as much as I ever have. I'm nuts about it.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna wing it. Saludos a mis amigos en Brasil y en América Sur. Gracias por la fraternity del skateboarders. And felicidades to all my friends. And come say hello at Spot. Peace.
Peace. Rock on, guys. All right, so this has been another episode of Skateboarding Bros Show. Thank you for watching. Please like, follow, share, mash the buttons, hit the buttons, forward, copy, paste, download, do whatever you can. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Bye-bye, guys.
You're watching the Skateboarding Bros Show. Stories from the pioneers of skateboarding about the history and the fun of the sport we love.